know. I think you were kind of quiet. I didn't have much to do with you the first couple of weeks. So I think you were kind of quiet and more just trying to get stuff done and trying to put a structure in place for all of us. I think it will be sad to see you go at the end of it because you're part of the team now and we've all accepted you as part of the team and you've did a lot for us on helping us get better as a team and as an organisation.
Thank you.
Well, on day one, first few days of meeting you, I thought you were fairly nice. You seemed quite organised when I first met you. You were a little quiet, but you soon stopped being a little quiet and you talked to everyone. And I think that was just you getting to know everyone really. But I liked you straight off the bat. You're a nice guy.
First impressions, you were really enthusiastic, already quite knowledgeable about how charities and third sector organisations work, very keen to help in whatever way you could, and yeah, just a good fit pretty much straight away.
After our initial conversation that we had, which I have with all the students about what they're looking to get out of the placement, other than obviously covering all the other placement outcomes that you always need to pass, it was more about the personal development that goes out with that. My initial feeling on that was because you had already had extensive amount of youth work, frontline youth work experience, there wasn't any real need for you to repeat that again through the YMCA, and you wouldn't be getting any kind of valued learning from it, although it may be a easier way to pass for your placement. So it was through that initial conversation that I realised that you needed more of a project management and a different set of challenges. So initially my impression of you then was this is a person who can easily run a frontline youth club, no doubts there, but can that person, if I was to parachute them into a project, or if there's a project that I needed somebody to oversee that has a large amount of responsibility, a large amount of self-planning and self-discipline in terms of their time and management, is this person up to the job and could they do that, or are they going to try and coast? So that was my initial impression. So lots of potential, but still to see, because we're asking this person to do something that was actually out with and a step up from what was required, basically from their placement. So they could have done something easy, but we're talking about doing something that was a lot more involved and a lot more difficult to do. So there's also, can this person, are they really willing to put in the hours for it, because it's going to ask more of what the placement's required.
So reflecting over my time at placement, on day one, walking in through the door, I was really nervous. I didn't know what to expect. I kind of didn't really have an idea of the youth worker that I am and the manager that I am. I didn't know those skills that were in me. I remember walking in through the door, I was quite shy, quite reserved, didn't know what to expect. But day one really concreted that was the right placement for me. I really enjoyed day one, meeting the team, meeting what was going on. I had a lot of reflections on that day, which was really good. It was a good start. It was a good day. I just wanted to echo that it was a really nerve-wracking experience working into something I didn't really know, and I think that was a change from the last couple of placements, as I knew what we could expect, but this one I didn't, which was really good.
You've improved us as a team. You've helped us with paperwork, moving paperwork over into digital stuff, us communicate better as a team. So yeah, you've helped us a lot, and you've probably grown as a person as well.
I mean, I think since you've been here a little longer, we've got to know you a bit more. I'm gonna miss you. Hopefully you can come back at some point. Maybe. but I think you've helped the team really coordinate doing the building and the event ran real well because of your organisational skills and keeping the place just in tip-top condition.
I think now you're more willing to take the lead rather than wait, is it okay for me to just go, right, okay, I know this is the right way to do it, and kind of just go ahead and do it, which is great. So you're taking initiative, you've got great leadership skills. I can see those have developed even in the short time. You've brought the team together really well, and you listen to what everyone has to contribute as well and act on that. So yeah, it's all been very positive, and I think you came in with a lot of strengths anyway, so it's just got better.
Going forwards during that interim period where you're finding out more about the YMCA and about the digital makerspace project that we're looking to develop, all the other opportunities and all the examples and impact that it will have in the community. That's when we started to learn and started to pick up that this was something you were quite serious about, and that you really were getting your teeth into, so much so that during all of it, you were developing ideas and you're taking real ownership, and that was the kind of key underlining thing of it all overall, is that you were taking ownership of the project, personalising it to yourself, not just for the sake of passing for the university placement, but this was something that you were taking on board, and that was demonstrated in the amount of hours in detail in questions and delivery of the Raspberry Pi event. All of those things demonstrated that this was something that was going to be more than just you doing your placement, which was great for me because it freed me up to go and concentrate in other areas of the organisation. So during that, I could see there was areas that you already had developed in terms of time management, in terms of organising, because those are things that you've already done in your past disciplines and past jobs. But it was interesting for me to see that development in terms of you as a manager and managing our staff, particularly when you were in that no man's land of I am technically a student and not a manager. So it was about having the authority but not having the authority. It was a very difficult line I think to balance, which I think you've done quite well. And so going through that implementation stage of from initially knowing what we thought you were going to be like to what the proof of the pudding was, I've been delightedly, is that a word? I've been pleasantly surprised, because you have personalised it, you've developed it, and that's what's required of anybody in this game within youth and community work, is that it's a vocation, it's not a job. It's not for the money, it's for the love of doing what it is that you're doing, and that shone through in everything that you were doing.
How have I changed over the last 4 months? I think I've grown much more than I kind of expected. Putting together this capstone, putting together the presentation, listening to other workers talking about me, writing things down, it's really kind of concreted what this placement has learned. I've learned from it. I've learned that actually I'm a leader. I'm a really strong leader, and I don't mean to say that to blow one trumpet, but I'm someone that people can rally behind. Even someone who is a student who's coming in, who's saying, "Well, I don't know everything," but then others are going, "But you're here to lead us in this way," and they rallied behind me, and us as a team, we went somewhere, we journeyed together. Actually, I feel that's one of my strengths now, walking away from this, is that I can not just lead a team, but I'm part of a team that's going somewhere, and I'm going with them on the journey rather than just saying, right, let's go this, let's be here. So I feel that this is I've increased, I've learned, I've grown as a person in that 4 months. I've grown as a leader like that. I've also learned how to put this theory that I've learned over the last 3 years, especially over the last especially in third year, that the kind of modules that were really in play, management, critical pedagogy, those kind of modules really coming into play in this placement, which I really think brought it home, really learning something really recently, bringing it right into placement, I think was fantastic. Even the modules before, group work dynamics, just learning from each other, politics and situations, it was really good. So I think I've learned like that as well, which has been amazing.
I think maybe you should start up with funding applications, because maybe that's probably your next step to becoming a full-on manager and being able to manage your own building one day, because you've got the skills to do it.
How have you improved? Well, I mean, I don't know how you were organisational wise before you came here, but I feel like you've learned a bit more. I'm not sure you might not have, but from what I've seen, I think you've gotten a bit more, like, not people skills, but you know, like team management skills, I believe.
Okay.
Is how to say that.
Thank you. And what do you think a challenge could be for me in the future? What areas do you think I could improve?
Or areas you could improve. That's a challenge in itself. I think you could probably improve, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure though. I mean, I don't have any management based skills. What I've seen you've done perfectly fine. I mean, there's probably something you can improve on, but I don't know what that is.
Okay, I think any challenge you take on, you'll be excellent at. I think you're well equipped to do whatever you want to do. So if you want to sort of manage an organisation, manage a project, you're quite willing to go in and learn everything, you know, from the ground up or the top down. So I think depending on what your aspirations are, I'm not sure, but I think you could do whatever you set your mind to. The only conversation obviously we'd kind of had between us was funding, you know, just trying to get a little bit of experience with the funding applications, but once you've got that down, you're really well rounded and you've got great experience already, so anyone would be lucky to have you.
My recommendations or suggestions going forward in terms of your further development would certainly be two things. One would be funding for a start. So you've got the frontline youth work thing down pat. You've got creating projects and outcomes and evaluating the paperwork covered. You've got all the kind of infrastructure and all the kind of management type stuff that is required in order to have a successful project. The only part that you've not experienced that would be required as part of your future development is you doing grant funding applications. And you've already got, and I've seen that, the ideas there for community projects and identifying what would be the need within a community, but it's about you trying to then, and you would cover the budget as well and sort it out, but it's about putting the wording and parts of what you're learning through university and through your academic writing to transfer that into your funding applications and get an understanding of that world of networking with funders, building relationship with funders, going to funding events, getting them to know the person at the other side of the telephone, and understanding that part of your overall management, project management, community development, and that's the one element for me that you're still to conquer or develop or experience more of, because my impression is that that's something that you've been exposed to much. The other part would be I would recommend this of everybody, even myself, because it's always an ongoing thing, is into your leadership and management skills. It's been great because, you know, my head is in 7 or 8 different areas. I rarely get to spend time delving into a particular issue when it has to become an issue. And it's been good that way, where you've taken a leadership approach, where you have been the voice of the other members of staff when they maybe feel that they might not be able to approach me, and be able to voice their concerns in terms of hours or in terms of interpersonal relationships with other co-workers and other things that have cropped up that you've managed to develop and present professional courage with, to be able to be comfortable and say to me, there's certain things here that you need to be looking at here that I'm conscious as a manager that you're not, because obviously you've got other areas. And that's been good, because again it goes way by that you know, me being the student supervisor and you being the student, you're actually calling in and calling, you know, you're actually informing me about my responsibilities, and that's important to always maintain and keep that professional courage in terms of any other job that you go through, because there's always going to be somebody over you and there'll be certain things that they'll drop the ball on, and then you need to be the one there to voice that. The other part of the development would be in terms of where you're wanting to go career wise. You know, now that you I think that at some point you'll need to make that separation more from being more front line, because that's maybe what I'm surmising here to a certain extent, but a lot of maybe of what your experience within youth and community work has been a majority of front line throughout your career, and it's about maybe taking more of a further step back from that into that managerial project management, developing of an idea from inception, from your own mind right the way through to 4 walls, right? And having the funding all in place to do it that you did, and taking along with you your staff, or taking along with you your volunteers, or taking along with you your community, in order to see all of that through. Always from their point of view, because you're working with communities, but it's not always going to be that you're working with communities. People are going to come and ask you for everything and want you to deliver it all, and it's about you delegating and managing and problem solving, and also taking on the responsibility on your shoulders that you've got to own it, which is what is great, because that's what you did here. Because when it all goes according to plan, then great, you get the accolades, but when it doesn't, you'll be the one hit for it as well. So you may as well do things your way. And what's good about what you're doing in terms of your degree and going through with your if you do go ahead with doing the masters in business administration and everything else, is that you're already looking at pulling in those theories to inform your experience, to make you a more informed and better practitioner, and it will allow you to have that overall fuller approach to everything that you do that all employers are looking for now, because they're not looking for one person that can do a very narrow type role. They're looking for somebody who can do the overall thing, and it will increase your employability, particularly within these very troubling times where we are, you know, funding linked to contracts and everything else. So that would be my recommendations going forward, is that, you know, expose yourself and get involved in a lot more bigger projects that you're required to do the funding applications for, and that you just continue to develop yourself as a leader and a manager, caring for the staff that you're in charge of, so that you can bring out the best in them to make, you know, your ideas come to fruition.
Moving into where I think I could learn in the future. I really feel this placement, I've learned how to roll my sleeves up. I've really learned how to, it's not just about manager, it's not just about staff, it's also about really getting to grips, getting into the work that you're asking your staff to do, asking volunteers, students, anyone that's part of your organisation. I think really just rolling the sleeves up, getting into the work with them. I've really learned that this time. So kind of going forward, what kind of stuff I think would challenge me is again, not being scared to get down into the work. If I'm saying to a volunteer, to a student, to a staff member, can you do this? If I'm available, if I'm free, then I would want to do that with them rather than almost taking the lazy approach and going, well, actually, I'm going to be doing this because I need to do this. I much rather want to kind of be with them and relationship build with them as part of as part of their work. I think I want to echo what other staff have said about actually moving forward. I think a good recommendation is to get my teeth into like funding applications and really getting to grips with how they're structured. I know what I want to say and I know what would be good, but putting it down on paper and actually getting to grips with what the funder wants, I think will be a real stretch for me in the future as well. So whether that's my next placement or whether that's in the future as a job or in whatever I do, I think getting to grips with funding and I've still got a good couple of weeks left at placement, so I think sitting down with Darren and the other staff and looking over that, which would be great. I just want to finish off by saying that this placement has been absolutely amazing. I've really learned a lot. I hope you can see this from everything that's been produced. It's been fantastic. So thank you.